Welcome to We're Not the Same. I'm Katie.
And I'm Brian.
And we are talking about all the ways that we are not the same over the last few years, all the things that we've changed our mind on or just learned something new about.
We've gone down a lot of rabbit holes, and this one is a little bit different.
Probably something you might not have thought of.
I certainly didn't. Like when we started this whole journey, this was not something that was on my radar.
Yeah. For sure. So today we're going to be talking all about fabrics and materials and how that can actually play a role in your health and wellness and vitality and all those things. So I have been wanting to do this episode for a long time, and here we are, episode 7, finally making it happen. So let's dive in.
All right, so before we get started on this topic, I just got to throw it out there. I've got my super radio voice on tonight, so we are all getting over a little bit of a cold here at our family, and so my voice is a little out there. So just putting that out there. But we're doing all of our homeopathics and our elderberries and things like that to try to get better. And
yeah, this has been a rough one. I feel like it's been about a year, close to a year, since we've been this sick as a family. So been a bummer, but
it's okay. It hits us and
making our way through.
Yeah, God designed our bodies to heal, and we will get through it.
Yeah.
So
we could be a lot worse off than we've been. I mean, I feel like on Instagram, I kind of see as things go through people, it'll be the flu or the stomach bug, and just everybody seems like they're going down. And we've fared very well in the past through a lot of cycles. So it's not surprising something eventually gets you.
Yep. And this one hasn't been too bad. I just feel like it's dragged on. Like we haven't had severe symptoms. It's just been losing voice or stuffy noses or whatnot. And I do want to say, we'll get to this on another topic, but we found it really super helpful to seeing a chiropractor versus just diving in to go see a pediatrician or whatever for the kids. And I was mentioning that to my discipleship group, which I talked about last time on the podcast. Just a group of guys, just 3 of us, and we have a group text. And
4 of you.
There's 4 of us, yeah. And mentioned it on a group text, and one of the guys was like, "I thought chiropractic was a bunch of voodoo made up stuff." And I was like, "I think that is the perception out there, and I don't think I knew that much about chiropractic."
No,
before
I definitely
we started.
grew up where it was kind of this, that's just not what we do,
Yeah, but now it is the greatest thing ever. And I described it as it's total opposite of voodoo. It's literally the motto of our chiropractor is, you're designed to heal because God designed you to be that way. So God designed you to heal, and they're just here to help you be in the best ability to do that by aligning you and helping your nerves and muscles all get to the best place so that you're able to heal. Mm-hmm. And finally got the guys around, and they were like, "Oh, so it's kind of like a pastor kind of helps your soul heal, guides you on that path. And a chiropractor is kind of for the physical, guiding you in the best, helping you get in your best form." It's couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So, big shout out to our chiropractor, Dr. Ben. Appreciate it. All right, now we're ready to talk about the fabrics.
Okay. So if you know about low tox, I guess, you know that the number one problem I feel like with stuff is that we're finding more and more studies are coming out about plastics and how harmful those are to our bodies. And you probably have seen low tox influencers talking about switching, your food containers, get rid of the plastic ones for glass, buy a stainless steel water bottle instead of a plastic water bottle, all that kind of stuff. But that actually, we don't think of our clothes as plastic, but a lot of them actually are. If you listen to the last episode with Avery in it, she actually brought up kind of this topic, which we did not expect her to bring up at all. But she gave a nice intro for us about how the fabrics like polyester, and I'll give a full list in a minute, but polyester is actually really plastic. And so when you're wearing a lot of clothes, when you buy really cheap clothes, they're usually polyester. You're kind of wrapping yourself in plastic. So you can just imagine when you phrase it that way, it doesn't sound the best, right? Like it's not breathable, it's absorbing into your skin. And so that's kind of where it started for me, of realizing that polyester was a plastic.
And I think they can do a lot with plastics. And I think even the, the Nike wears and the other things that are supposed to be like sweat wicking and comfort stretch and all those things, like that is polyester. Like they're able to manipulate the polyester because it's like plastics, and they can like manipulate it in different ways so don't be fooled by like it's,
yeah, like I said, I'm going to
manipulated.
give a full list. It's not all polyester. Like it has different names. It's not just different names for polyester. It actually is different fabrics that are, sourced from different places and chemically altered or whatever, chemically processed to get it to being a fabric. So I'm actually going to have my iPad here with some notes on it, because I actually have a lot more preparation for this episode than all of our other episodes have just been us discussing. But this one, I wanted to actually do a little bit more research so I could have my facts straight for you guys and have this be a little bit more like an educational episode. But that's why I just have been so excited to do this topic, because I haven't really even dived into this one on Instagram yet. I've like hinted at it and shared a couple other people's posts, but this is, I feel like, my current rabbit hole. I always get excited when I have something new that I'm researching and swapping out and all that.
I think this one's exciting too because it's in the fashion world, so there's clothes involved, clothes and shoes
Shopping.
And all that. So nothing more exciting than that.
Okay, so one other fact that I wrote down about microplastics is that it's now more and more studies, like I said, are coming out, and it's been found for the vast majority of Americans. They're finding microplastics in samples of urine, blood, even umbilical cord blood of newborns. So that's pretty frightening. We're literally turning into plastic. I feel like it just makes me think of that song Barbie Girl. Like,
yes,
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. If you like a ton of health problems, I guess.
And I think another thing too that's worth mentioning is like plastics are petroleum-based products, so it comes from the oil. You can picture those environmental shows with like the oil seeping over and the oil like being manufactured and going through all these processes. Like that is what plastic is from. It's a petroleum-based product. So as you think about plastic, we just hear plastic. It's super convenient. You can use it in all this stuff, and it really is. I mean, that's why it was invented, because there's so many applications for it, and it's cheap. But I don't think it's necessarily widely known that it's a petroleum-based product, which is again another reason why it's important that our skin, our largest organ, is there to absorb the space around us, but also to protect us. But when we're wearing petroleum-based products, these plastics, that can get absorbed, in addition to the foods we eat and things like that you're mentioning now.
Yeah, one of the things when I was researching today, one of the articles had a quote from some, scientist or whatever, who he was like, there aren't a ton of studies at this point that show the level of absorption, right? Because we're talking about something on our skin that's a solid, it's not, we're not putting a lotion or something on. So it's harder to think about the fact that your skin is absorbing something from that. But he said there's not a lot of studies yet showing the proof, which a lot of people want to have the proof. But he said, but it's unlikely that it's zero, and so that's pretty easy to accept. I think that, there's pretty much no chance that there's nothing seeping off of your clothes and into your skin. So artificial materials are made of plastic, but they're also heavily processed with a lot of chemicals. A lot of the dyes that they use can be allergenic, and just a lot of toxins, including formaldehyde and formaldehyde releasers. So a formaldehyde releaser is something that basically, when it comes into contact with your skin, it like more forms into formaldehyde. So it's not actually like just formaldehyde, but it somehow can like break down into formaldehyde.
And just so everyone is aware, I'm sure we've all heard formaldehyde. It probably brings us back to middle school science class with the frogs, like are stored in formaldehyde.
I feel like I can still smell it.
Yeah, because it's a preservative, or one of the functions is it acts as a preservative.
Yeah.
But I'll also say, we've been doing a lot of house things, and we'll talk about this in another episode, but there's a lot of formaldehyde in a lot of products that we use, a lot of carpets and furniture and things that, like, formaldehyde is around us a lot of the time, and it's not just in our clothes or something that your frog or, that your
Yeah,
science
it's not
project
just
was.
for preserving dead animals.
And formaldehyde is actually a VOC, which is a volatile organic compound. And this is basically what this means is there are different types of chemicals that at our typical standard temperatures are in the form of a vapor, which means that it is in our air. So it impacts our air quality. So we breathe it in and it gets absorbed into our bloodstream and all of that. So that's why you see, like, when you buy carpets or paints, it'll say low VOC. And they're trying to promote that it doesn't have a lot of these VOC chemicals. One of those is formaldehyde. There's several other ones. But that's just something to be aware of is VOCs. So we've been dealing a lot with that in our house. We'll get into it.
We definitely have to do an episode on all that because that has been a rabbit hole we never asked for.
Yes. Mold and carpets and water damage and piping and all sorts of stuff. So more to come on that. That's a lot of my world. So we'll get there in one episode. But just throwing it out there, it plays everything. Formaldehyde is more than just your frogs and in your clothes.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and give the list of fabrics. So the fabrics that are plastic are nylon, rayon, acrylic, spandex, polyester. Those are like the most common ones. It's not an all-inclusive list, but those are the typical ones. I'm sure if you've ever looked at a label of a shirt, you've probably heard of most of those. The better choices are organic cotton, linen, wool, leather, bamboo, and hemp fabric. So all of those are more natural fibers. They're less processed, less chemicals involved. Of course, there's going to be a variety of sources, and, you can really dig into, buying something linen from Gap versus buying something linen from like a specialty boutique that's sourcing their own flax from wherever. So like with everything, there's a spectrum, but those are typically going to be your better choices versus any of these artificial things.
So on that note, so you mentioned like organic cotton. So like, what's the benefit of organic cotton versus just cotton?
Well, just like with our food, the organic cotton is not going to be sprayed with all the pesticides and stuff like that. Whereas traditional cotton might, have more pesticides and all that. So it's just, you're putting something on your body is potentially giving off some sort of residue, I guess you could say, from the pesticides and stuff.
Got it. And I think it's helpful too. I know it's probably obvious, but like when we say natural fibers, these are things that are grown like from the ground. So I think cotton we're all familiar with. We can picture the cotton fields and the white fluffy thing that's harvested and all that. But that's why, your linen is also comes from the flax seed, like you mentioned. And then, you have hemp, which is obviously the hemp plants and all that. So it's natural fibers because it comes from the earth. But it's typically more expensive because it has to be harvested by people. That's why.
Well, except for like wool and leather, those would be coming from animals. But again, just a natural source versus something created in a lab.
Yeah. And I think we just, as we talk on this show a lot about like why things are happening. And I think it's a lot of those other products are easier to maybe not easier to manufacture, but cheaper, and it makes it more widely available to do like fast fashion and things like that versus sourcing from cotton or these other natural fibers.
So recently a study came out about PFAs. So you probably have heard of PFAs if you're kind of into this low tox space. But for those who haven't, those are known as the forever chemicals because they do not break down in the environment. They just last forever.
Or your body.
Yeah, and the environment could be being your body as well. So they are linked to all kinds of health issues. And so I feel like the first place I heard about them was with cookware. And a lot of the nonstick cookware contains the harmful PFAs. Whenever we started looking into getting more non-toxic cookware, when you look at the labels, it'll be like free of PFAs. Even our floss is from a brand that's free of PFAs.
Yes.
Anyways, back to this recent study was looking at athletic wear. So kind of like what you were mentioning with the wicking and stuff. So a lot of you ladies out there have probably heard of these, the Lululemon Align leggings. I feel like every single influencer talks about these and raves about them. Well, unfortunately, if you look at the label of these, they are made from 81% nylon and 19% lycra, which is another artificial material. And so in this study, they found that the Align leggings as well as leggings from Old Navy, and like there was a whole list. I can put the link to the study in the description, but they found PFAs like above the, acceptable level, which really the acceptable level should be 0, but it's not. And so what do most moms, especially like stay-at-home moms, what are we wearing all the time is leggings. And so you could be unknowingly having these harmful things. And a lot of girls don't wear like underwear with leggings just because like the lines or whatever. That's not me. I like to just keep it fresh, but
I'm learning so much on this podcast.
So then you're like having those harmful materials right by your very sensitive area.
Not just sensitive, but like that's like one of the most absorbable things,
your
right?
skin is like very absorbable down there, or higher absorption. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. So you can, like, I recently got a new pair of leggings from the brand Pact, and they're like 95% cotton and 5% some spandex-like thing, but they claim that it's better, but who knows for sure. But still, 95% cotton, so you're starting off better. But then again, leggings in general, any sort of really tight clothing, if it's leaving an indent in your skin, that's a good sign that you're causing like a hindrance to your lymphatic drainage. And so I try to like just wear looser clothes, like it taking me back. I always loved dresses. In like high school, college, early in my career, like I just always wore dresses because it's just so easy and comfortable. And so I feel like I'm getting back to that. Now that our kids are a little earlier and not as much like crawling around on the floor with them, I can like wear dresses again and just lets everything flow a little better.
So for those who aren't aware, what's the lymphatic drainage and why is that important?
Oh, okay. Well, now we're going down another whole.
Well, we can keep it high level.
No, I think it's good. So your lymphatic system is like your lymph nodes. I'm sure you've heard of lymph nodes all throughout your body. So your lymphatic system, the purpose of it, I'm probably not getting this 100% right, but is to help move fluids and like cleanse your body of toxins and stuff. Like it takes stuff out of your blood, and it's like moving that system. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've heard me talk about dry brushing a lot, and that's to help with lymphatic drainage and just moving that, because we live more sedentary lifestyles these days. We just do, like, unless you're just somebody who happens to have an extremely free schedule and you do a lot of activities in your free schedule. We just, as a whole, humanity is more sedentary these days. So our lymph is not moving as well as it should be.
Yep.
So, yeah, wearing tight clothes, you kind of just, it makes sense. Like if you put a rubber band around something, it's not going to drain out as well. Also, a huge environmental impact to this. And so I am not like one of these climate change believers.
No.
I would say I'm a climate change denier. But I do care about the environment, and that's the thing that is so, it's not funny, but it's just ironic, I guess, to me about a lot of people who so deeply supposedly care about the environment. They don't actually look into it, right? They're just clinging to an agenda that's being pushed on them, and they're going into a store and pouring milk onto the ground in protest of the fact that cows are causing climate change. Like,
come on.
It's so frustrating to see such stupidity in the world, but it's happening, multiple
common sense
times.
Is not so common anymore.
No, yeah. So this would be one of those things where it's like, this is a way that you can hugely impact the environment. All this fast fashion, which if like you've ever ordered something from Shein, it's like 100% polyester, every single thing from Shein, which I've ordered from them. Yeah, guilty. But will not be ordering from them again. I always knew it was bad, but I guess I just like the draw of the cheap clothes was more than, when I had just.
You also didn't.
I feel like everyone knows that Shein's not the best, but like you don't really know why maybe. So you just start like, I'll just not think about that.
Well, it's the same mindset with all the food and everything. Like, oh, it's just a little bit, or like one, you either don't think about what the fabric is or what the impact of that is to yourself and or the environment. But you also, if you do think about it or know that it's bad, it's just like the food, like, oh, it's just a little bit, like everything in moderation. It won't be
Yeah.
that big of a deal. But we've talked about it before. It's the compounding effect. It's the compounding effect of all of these different things are going to have a negative impact on your health. So you can't, the mindset of just moderation, it's just not there. And because if you do everything in moderation, it's still a compound effect of all those different chemicals and harmful products and things.
And it's certainly not just Shein. I mean, pretty much every brand, Target, Ross, wherever cheap clothes are sold, you're going to find a lot of polyester. But imagine in the dump or wherever all of our clothes go when we dispose of them, even if you donate them, eventually somebody's throwing it away, right? So imagine an organic cotton t-shirt in the dump versus a polyester, aka plastic t-shirt in the dump. Which one's gonna, degrade faster, decompose more quickly into the ground? And so when you think about too, we know, like, I'm just using Shein as an example because I feel like that one's always in the news cycle for being bad, of like how badly they treat their workers. They pay them like nothing, like terrible work conditions, like it's basically like slavery of how they treat their workers. But then what they're also not even talking about is the fact that they're being inundated daily with these harmful chemicals from the manufacturing process of these clothes. And so the health outcomes over there are just horrible for these people because they have no sort of regulation or protection for the workers against these chemicals that they're dealing with. And then, of course, the company just lets that run into the water and, the whole cascade of issues that it causes from an environmental perspective. So that's just really another incentive, for trying to make better choices.
I got nothing to add.
This one's going to be more me just because his voice is struggling. So you have to read your clothes labels just like you read your food ingredient labels. Woo! I know you guys love when I just give you more work that you're going to have to do in order to just live. But let me live. Just let me put on a freaking shirt.
Yeah.
But nope, not anymore. You got to start looking at your labels. And it's not usually on like the back tag. It's usually that tag that's like in the side or wherever. That's where they put the care instructions and like what the fabric actually is made of.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of see it as it's kind of fun now. Like when we go to, because even these places that you do mention, and we're going to talk more about this, like the Targets and the Walmarts and the Rosses and stuff, like it becomes a treasure hunt because you can start just like looking at the labels first and then like seeing the clothes. And like you do start to recognize it, especially things like linen have a much more clear appearance of like what that fabric is. But for me, it's kind of fun now because it's like kind of a treasure hunt, and the girls love it too. Like, oh, is that cotton, 100% cotton? Or
yeah,
like, oh, that's organic cotton. Like that's really good, and linen and all that stuff. So you can make it fun for the family, and kind of a game. It's like a treasure hunt.
And I think it also, I mean, once again, this is another episode we could have about minimalism and kind of our aspirations to be more of a minimalistic lifestyle. I think it's really helped me in that you are getting away from the fast fashion. So you're not buying a new shirt every day, from Amazon, or not that I ever was buying something every day, but you know what I mean, of just every season, you pick up stuff just because it's so cheap. And it's like, now it's more curated, trying to get pieces that are quality over quantity, and also things that last a lot longer. Like these fabrics, linen especially has been around since biblical times. Jesus was wrapped in a linen cloth when he was born. So it's like these have stood the test of time.
So but if you want to be biblical, wear your linen.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because your shirt, I know, is 100% polyester, because this was like one that I made with the Cricut, and like to do this like ink embossing or whatever, it had to be on 100% polyester shirt.
I know. I wanted to juxtapose on this episode your beautiful linen shirt.
I have 100% linen.
Yeah, and this is polyester.
So that's why your vibes over there are.
Yeah, it's not helping my sickness. I'm not doing, but I just wanted to wear my girl dad shirt because I like it. So
I'll have to find a way to make you a 100% cotton girl dad shirt.
Yeah, I think you have to embroider. Right?
Yeah, I could embroider.
Yeah, There we go.
All right, we'll
Off with this linen, out with this polyester shirt.
So, yeah, kind of what you were talking about. You get a knack for just feeling and just knowing I want to say ingredients, the materials. So like there's a lot of blends that kind of makes it hard, right? So you can kind of tell like, oh, that looks kind of like linen, but it might be more of a blend. So you have to check the tag. But for sure, I can easily call out stuff. It's 100% linen or 100% cotton just by the touch. You can just tell. It's just so easy once you start to pay attention and have read a few labels. You'll be like, oh, yeah, that's polyester. I think Avery said that in the podcast. Like if it's super soft, that is polyester. And so even blankets, which I had this as a note for later, but like, okay, all those really cute, super, super soft blankets that they have at Home Goods for like every season, they have just the cutest prints and everything. Those are all 100% polyester, y'all. I hate to break it to you, but you're just layering yourself in that. And then also, I feel like I noticed this before, but I never really like fully understood why, of just how when you wear polyester, like you just sweat so much. I feel like you get hotter and more bothered and more stinky versus like wearing cotton or linen is just more breathable and it doesn't like trap your odors in.
Yeah, and all these places have these, like I said, these cotton and 100% cotton thing. You're like, I was very surprised. Like we'd go places and be like, oh, that like Target. Like this doesn't mean you have to stop shopping at Target. I mean, you probably shouldn't stop at Target for a lot of reasons, actually.
Yeah.
But
kind of boycotted Target.
Yeah, if you do shop at Target or Walmart or whatever, like these clothes do exist there. Like you don't have to be.
And I have like some tips at the end that I'll go through.
Perfect.
So.
All right.
Getting ahead of yourself over here.
All right.
So the next part that I wanted to talk to, I saved it for kind of the middle here, so hopefully we don't lose too many people, is frequencies. So when I first told Brian about these like frequencies and wavelengths and all this stuff, he's like, okay, like
from chiropractic to
I know, like,
fabric frequencies.
Yeah. But it's really not. Like people say it's new age for a Christian to be worried about this stuff, but it's like, but God made it, right? Like, I mean, we're in this time where we know things have frequencies, right? And like those didn't just come out of nowhere. Like it's 100% planned and designed by God. Like,
well,
it's not a surprise to him. He knows about it.
I think it's so incredible to think biblically and stuff. A lot of people, the sounds and like God used his voice and the words to create. And like, what are words and sound? Their vibration, their frequencies, their wavelengths. And as you dive more into this, and this could be multiple episodes of just the evidence of wavelengths.
Yeah.
And like, I have found it interesting. There's a lot more research that needs to go into it, but there's even a concept of potentially that like we're on a frequency and like heaven is on like just another frequency that we can't see, and like music is like stepping towards that and that like moves you because of the frequent, like you get your chills and stuff and like frequencies and wavelengths.
There are healing frequencies and then there are frequencies that are more harmful to humans. And so
just like light, there's different lights that are like, we all know like ultraviolet light, like, ooh, scary. Like that's bad. And what is light? Wavelengths, frequencies. Like that's what it is. So there's science. There's science. Trust the science. Ouch. It's painful to say.
The real science.
The
not
real
the
science. Yeah.
Agenda science.
Yeah. Not your CNN science. But yeah, it is important.
Yes. And so in regards to fabrics, though, we'll try to reel it back in over here. I wanted to just read from this study that I heard about a while ago, and I finally looked it up today. So let me just read directly to you. So this is from the Life-Giving Linen organization, which again, I will put a link to this. So in 2003, a study was done by a Jewish doctor, Heidi Yellen, on the frequencies of fabric. According to this study, the human body has a signature frequency of 100, and organic cotton is the same, 100. The study showed that if the number is lower than 100, it puts a strain on the body. A deceased, nearly dead person has a frequency of about 15, and that is where polyester, rayon, and silk register. Non-organic cotton registers a signature frequency of about 70. However, if the fabric has a higher frequency, it gives energy to the body. This is where linen comes in as a super fabric. Its frequency is 5,000. Wool is also 5,000, but when mixed together with linen, the frequencies cancel each other out and fall to 0. Even wearing a wool sweater on top of a linen outfit in the study collapsed the electrical field. The reason for this could be that the energy field of wood flows from left to right, of wool flows from left to right, while that of linen flows in the opposite direction from right to left. And so there's more, again, I'll put the link, but that was just the first like kind of summary of the study that I wanted to share. So that is like so crazy to me, so cool that we literally, it just, I don't know, it just makes sense. Again, just that gut feeling that I have of whether things kind of sit well with me or not. And it just makes sense to me that something that's man-made and like chemically laden is going to cause more harm to us. And I feel like, you know, again, this is where people get a little freaked out. Christians get a little freaked out of talk about raising your frequency and all of this. But I mean, it exists. It's a real thing. It's not just like some woo-woo spiritual stuff or something. So linen, 5,000. So if we're at 100 and we're wearing something with 5,000, that's obviously going to have a huge, and there are even more studies that, you know, you can look into on, you know, wound healing and linen bandages and linen wound wrapping and things like that. Like it helps promote the healing of the body. So that is just amazing to me. And then my more like conspiracy side of me, like I need like a tinfoil hat that I can put on when we get to certain topics. But like, why would they want to just push fast fashion and push everything is like polyester, and they make it so soft and like it can be cute colors and so desirable, and it's literally the same frequency as a nearly dead body, you know? And so whatever, maybe it's just capitalism and it's cheap and like that's the way it goes, but like how much cheaper could it be? You know, like is it that much cheaper that they're able to just push it and like literally everything is made out of polyester these days? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like our engineering is showing. We're like super excited about frequencies.
Yeah, we did. Oh, it's just so cool.
The counseling out the wavelengths. Like think back to your physics classes and the waves, and if you have two waves going, headed towards each other, they flatten out.
There's like a term for that for sure.
Oh yeah, and like the difference of the measurements and stuff. Like yeah. Anyway, we're nerding out here on our engineering side, but it is okay. I do want to say like we have invested in some like organic like underwear because I think that is like
honey.
No, like if you're gonna do something like we talked about, like your areas like are very absorb.
Yeah.
Absorb. Man, it's late and I'm sick. Absorb a lot. So like if you're gonna invest in something or believe in this at all or look into something, like put the clothes that you wear the most in your areas that most absorb. Choose the organic cotton there. And we've done that. And like, I will say like, it makes a difference 100%. Like, I don't know what it is. Frequencies, probably, because that's the science behind it. But we do feel a lot better. And like, I don't know. It's weird. Try
Let's
organic.
Just say
cotton.
He's a big fan of the organic cotton undies.
Yeah.
And they make organic bras too. So you can all be like very comfortable. Like I'm in linen, organic cotton. Organic cotton. I'm just killing it tonight.
Lots of frequencies going on.
Yeah.
High vibes. I feel you.
But earlier today, I was wearing a t-shirt that I didn't know. Like, it's an older t-shirt that I just picked out. And so I was like so hot today. I was just like sweating all day. And so I had to come home and change into this shirt halfway through the day. And I looked, and sure enough, it was 50% polyester, 50% cotton. So that 50% polyester, I was like, I should have known. Like, I just was killing my vibes all day. Okay, so you might be thinking, great. So now I have to go in my closet and throw away all my clothes and spend all this money to rebuild my wardrobe. But no, I would say on like the totem pole of making swaps, this is pretty low on the totem pole. Food, products, your environment, products meaning like skincare, shampoo, like fluids you're putting on your body. I think all of that is far more important than this, but we just have come so far on this journey. I feel like that we're here. And so the first step is just like with anything, just awareness. Like you literally weren't aware and now you are. So now you're going to be looking at your labels on your clothes and you're just going to start to see how it feels on your body, see how you feel wearing it throughout the day. You might notice like me that you're like more sweaty and like stinky when you're wearing polyester clothes versus when you're putting on something more cooling and stuff like that. So I think it's just being aware of it. And then also I've been surprised, like this shirt that I'm wearing right now is so old. I mean, I've had this shirt for years, but I snagged it on my closet today. I was like, oh, it's 100% linen. That's amazing. It's from J. Crew. So J. Crew has linen stuff. So you never know. I feel like I've been pleasantly surprised looking through my closet of things that are actually 100% cotton or 100% linen. So you just start with the clothes you have. And yeah, like I said, just awareness, start learning, start seeing how you feel, just being aware. And then as you're getting new things, whenever you're shopping, moving forward, you can start to be more conscious of what you're choosing. And, not everybody's as extreme. Like, not everybody goes as hard as I go on these things. But I just will not buy something if it's polyester. Like, there have been many times I've been at the store and, like, picked something cute out for the girls. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I need to see. This feels like it's probably polyester. And it is. And then I just put it back. It doesn't matter, like, how cute or how cheap it is, or if it has their favorite character on it or whatever it is. Like, I'm just not buying it. I will say if there's, like, a Halloween costume or, a Christmas dress or something that is like a special occasion where you're just going to wear it once for a photo or something, like that would be an exception to where I just don't want to spend a lot maybe. But for like building our wardrobes and like the clothes that we wear every day, I'm investing more in quality pieces. And like even for you, did you ever order those linen shirts?
No, I was looking there. There's a site that I think it's actually a UK company that has linen like dress shirts and stuff. There's a lot that are out of stock. So they go quick when the sales and stuff come up, but they do have linen. It's not just Tommy Bahama. I think Tommy Bahama has like the majority of their outfits are linen.
You're going to be looking very beachy in your linen attire.
But not all linen is like that. I mean, the fabric's the same, but like the style doesn't have to be like that. Like they make dress shirts and things like that out of linen.
Yeah.
So it's out there and it's available. It's a little more expensive, but you get what you pay for, and it's important to be mindful of this stuff.
Well, and this is what you were mentioning before of how we have been able to find at Target or Walmart or like TJ Maxx, Marshalls. We've been surprised at like what we've been able to find with, not so much in the men's. I think you did find one Tommy Bahama shirt that was like 100%
bright orange.
Yeah. But in the women's, actually, especially with like spring and summer now and having all that stuff out, I feel like there's going to be even more linen and like relatively affordable. A lot of the stuff online is very pricey, which I'm not against. Like they're definitely higher quality pieces. Like I tried on a bunch of stuff at Marshall's and half of it was just see-through because it was just so thin in order for them to make it, $25 or whatever it was. So quality over quantity for sure moving forward. But I mentioned Packed before. I really like that brand that's where we get all like our undergarments for organic cotton. They actually sell Packed at Whole Foods. So sometimes they will put it on sale and like for a pretty good deal, like as cheap as Hanes or whatever.
Go get yourself some organic cotton undergarments.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
If you're buying your undies at Victoria's Secret, or I don't know what the popular place is these days, but like I can promise you they're not 100% cotton. Because even before I knew about all this, I always preferred cotton underwear. And so I did just have like Hanes or whatever. And it's not cute, but it's comfy. Especially like after having kids, I just could never go back to the cute underwear. Sorry.
That's okay.
We're getting too comfortable on this podcast. So, and then the final note that I had was what I kind of, again, got ahead of myself, touched on before with the blankets. But even they make linen bed sheets, which is something I've been looking into for a while now. And that's definitely going to be an investment to get a good quality set. So I want to just really make sure I'm choosing the best. We may start out with one that's a little less expensive just from Amazon just to see, because I can imagine that it's going to feel different than what we're used to. But your towels, like your bath towels, make sure those are 100% cotton. Your bed sheets, your blankets. Like when we got Avery her big girl bed, I got organic cotton sheets, an organic cotton pillow, 100% cotton comforter. I couldn't find an organic cotton one, but I was able to find something that was like cute enough for her. But still, I was like, it has to be 100% cotton. I'm not going to put polyester over you as you sleep. Like, and then at Home Goods, we have found 2 different 100% cotton blankets. So if you go down that beautiful row of blankets with all the soft, like cute stuff, you can find some diamonds in the rough in terms of material. And they're not as cute, sadly. I mean, one I got was just white, so that worked out. But they don't have the bright colors, because those bright colors, just like in food, the bright colors in the food isn't good for you. And the bright colors on our clothes and, you know, materials aren't as good. Yeah, because of the dyes.
Yep.
So anyways, that was all my notes, I think. So.
And the other thing too is we got all those for her, but for like Georgia and babies and stuff, it's the isn't it Burt's Bees who makes the organic cotton bed sheets for toddlers, and like
for the crib sheets.
The crib sheets and the jammies were 100% organic cotton too. Mm-hmm. Burt's Bees, right?
Burt's Bees has that, and yeah, Carter's will have like 100% cotton, but I don't think it's organic.
Yeah. And then Gap has a few shirts, has 100% organic cotton.
Some of the Gap stuff you can find is 100% cotton. And you have to be careful, like Gap specifically, I know looking online, they will put like a environmentally friendly sticker on some stuff. So like the organic cotton they say is more environmentally friendly, but then they'll also put that on some of the more man-made stuff just because they're able to make it with less water or whatever they claim. But that doesn't mean it's good for you. So you want both, right? Like there's a category that's good for you and then good for the environment. It's a Venn diagram. Okay, you want the middle. You want it's good for you and the environment, not just only good for the environment. All right, so anything else to add to this conversation? I feel like this one people just haven't heard of, so you probably have questions, and I wish we could like get those questions right now. But you have to hear this first and then ask the questions. So.
Yeah, so feel free to ask those questions down in the comments below, or DM us. Like, we're super excited to talk to you and answer these questions. And be sure to like and subscribe, and also leave us a 5-star review.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that.
We've gotten a lot of like great feedback from you guys, but in our like private messages. But please like put it out there, because it helps our podcast reach other people, so we can keep these stories and this information shared.
For sure.
All right. Well, get out there, buy yourself some organic cotton undies, and call it a day.
I need to get like a coupon code for this. Dang.
I know. We're really pushing the pack stuff. So. All right, guys. We appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye. Bye.